Okay, so apple crumble. We're going to start with the crumble topping first of all. So we need 175 grams of plain flour. Oh, that's far too much. Okay, so we're using plain flour because obviously there's no need for this to rise. If you didn't have plain flour at home, you could use self-raising flour, but there's no need for it to rise, so there's absolutely no point. So plain flour just for the topping, and then we want some caster sugar. So we want 110 grams of caster sugar in there, just to help sweeten the top a little bit. $110. Okay, and then we just want 50 grams of butter. Oh, preferably in the mixing bowl. 50 grams, 0. Okay, and then what we're going to do is the rubbing in method. So if you remember from year 7 when we did our cheese scones, you take your fingertips, okay, remember thumb and little finger together, and then running your thumb along the top of your fingertips. Not this, okay, squishing it together, we're rubbing it together with our fingertips, okay. So butter, sugar and flour all rubbed in together. Okay, you can stop when it looks like breadcrumbs, exactly like scones last year. When we don't see any big lumps of butter and we got small little breadcrumbs, that's when we can stop. If you're unsure, if you give your bowl a little shake, all the bigger lumps of butter should come to the top. Okay, so lift your mixture up a little bit just to get some air in there, keep it light. Sometimes we see kids just squishing in the mixing bowl. That takes a long time to do it that way. So rubbing it together, lifting up to keep the mixture light and airy. Okay. So that's what you're looking for. Okay. Similar to what the flour will look like. Obviously there's not lots of butter in there, so the flour will still be quite fine, but you just don't want big lumps of butter. I've also got some cinnamon. I'm going to put some cinnamon in there, probably just about a teaspoon. I'm not going to weigh it. That's probably enough. And then you can just mix that in. Okay. There we go, crumble made. So keep that to one side. Okay, so then we're going to move on to the apple filling. So I've just got a couple of cooking apples here. I think I said 400 grams on your recipes. It doesn't really matter how many you have. You just need enough to fill an oven-proof dish. So however big your oven-proof dish is, judge how many apples you'll need from that. Obviously mine's going to be tiny, so I'll probably only need a couple. If yours is absolutely massive, you probably end up needing like 7 to 8 apples. Okay, we're going to peel these first of all. This skin doesn't break down very easily during cooking, and so it won't disintegrate or anything like that. It will just stay like that in the apple crumble, which doesn't give the best texture. Okay, we want these apples to be nice and soft. So get them peeled. Keep all your apple peelings well out the way. Okay, if you've got any bruises or anything like that on these apples, don't know if you can, like that, that's fine. What you often find is if you peel down a little bit further, that bruising just comes away because it's just on the surface. Okay. And keep your work area clear. Get rid of all the waste. Okay, then we need to cut these apples. So what I do is similar to an onion. When we do onions, we cut it in half. Okay, cut those ends off. And then if we slice down, I know we're going to slice through the core here, but what we can do is then stack the bits with the core up on top of each other. And then we can just slice down, and then we get rid of the core. Okay, I'm going to cut these again in half because they're quite big. So we get chunks. Oh, threw it at me phone. So we get chunks, they're about that big. Then you can put those straight into your saucepan. Okay. So apples are all cut and in my saucepan. We're going to add 50 grams of sugar into the saucepan just to give some sweetness to the filling and to help them cook down a little bit and to help them caramelise and give more colour. So 50 grams. You can go in. Okay. And then we're going to start stewing this very, very gently on the hob. Okay, the reason we're going to do this is because it just helps to get the apples cooking and make sure they're softened, because when we then put this into here and I crumble on top and it goes into the oven, sometimes what can happen is the crumble is cooked on top and is a great colour, but underneath in the filling, the apples, if we put them in raw, are sometimes a little bit under and still quite tough. So we're going to put this on the hob very, very gently. Okay, so apples have been stewing on the hob for about 5 minutes or so. So you can see I haven't cooked them down to a paste. Okay, they've still got texture there, they're still quite firm, but they have just started to soften around the edge. And then the sugar has melted and the apples have started to release their liquid. The reason this is a brown colour is because I added a little bit of cinnamon in there while they were cooking as well, which is something you can do. I forgot to add it before. So all we're going to do with this mixture is put it straight into our oven-proof dish. And then crumble mixture comes back out. And then we're going to put this on top. Okay. So I like a lot of crumble on a crumble, as does Miss Bruce over there. So fill it right up. Do not pat it down. Okay, a lot of students seem to want to squish it right down like a sandcastle. What that's going to do is it's going to compact all of that flour in, and then the moisture from the apples is going to then struggle to escape, which is then going to make your crumble topping all soggy, which we don't want. Obviously we want a crumble topping to be nice and crispy on top. If you start smushing it down so it's nice and perfectly flat, that moisture's not going to be able to escape. Okay, so that then is going to go into the oven until it's nice and golden brown on top, probably for about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, then we can get washed up. Okay, so, oh no, now. Okay, so the crumble's been in for about 20 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes, and you can see that the top is a nice golden brown colour. The apples have started to, and the liquid in the apples has started to bubble up around the sides, and then we're done, okay? It doesn't need to be to a certain temperature, it doesn't need to necessarily be for a certain time, it just needs to be a golden brown colour on top. So then I would serve this with some cream, some custard or some ice cream, and then yeah, happy days. Send me some pictures of if you complete one, please. Thank you very much, goodbye.